o'clock in the morning and I'm at Edinburgh Airport. The reason for an early start is that I want to try and run every single tram stop back into Edinburgh. But there's a caveat to this. I've got a show booked in the Edinburgh Fringe for 10:30, so that means I've only got 2.5 hours to do it in. So in reality, I think it's going to be how many stops can I manage before I have to bail and try and get to my show. Tram stop number 2 is Ingliston Park and Ride. Many years ago I thought, why pay for airport parking, because you can park here for free. What I didn't realise was you can't leave your car here overnight. So I came along, left my car, went away on my trip, came back 3 days later. My car was towed away and I had to pay £250 to get it back. First problem here, I've run out of pavement. I think I'll try and cross the motorway, get across to the other side. Thankfully it's not too busy. I'll give it a second and get going. Oh, there's no one here. That was quite deep, that grass. We've reached the Royal Bank of Scotland offices in Gogarburn. Many years ago I worked for the Royal Bank. I joined the day before the bank went bankrupt and the big crash happened. I like to think those two events are not linked, but I can't completely rule it out. Sure, it wasn't my fault. I never had to come out to this part of the Royal Bank because my office was in Edinburgh City Centre. It was the worst job I've ever had. I only did it for 6 months. It was so annoying. They had standards for everything. So if you wanted to do something, you had to go and look up what the standard was for it and then follow it exactly, even if the standard made no sense, because it took so much effort to change the standard that no one would bother. So it even had standards for your dress code. So it would say, like on a Friday, the dress code was for men, wear a suit, look smart, and on a Friday you can have a dress down. And the dress down was specifically stated as being, you can take your tie off. I remember when the bank collapsed, because I was in the pub that night, and my manager was there, and he'd taken out the RBS credit card and stuck it behind the bar and said, people can buy whatever they like. People in the bar did, even if they didn't work for RBS. They were helping themselves to as much booze as they can get. And the very next day, someone came up to my manager and said, we're taking all the credit cards off people. So that's what the difference it made. No more booze for RBS. Tram stop number 3, Gogarburn. I'm now in the outskirts of Edinburgh, so it starts to get a little bit tricky. Just to my left there, I think is the yard where all the trams are kept when I do all the work on them. And I'm pretty sure there's a tram stop just after it. Yeah, see a sign that says tram depot. I could look up a map, but I think one of the joy of doing this type of mini adventure is not really knowing exactly where you're going, and the challenge of trying to find things. Tram stop number 4, Edinburgh Gateway. Quite fancy. Obviously spent a lot of money around here. I think I can get out straight on and head over to the Guile Centre, which I believe is the next stop. Oh, I spotted a cycle path sign. That should hopefully take me in the right direction. This is the Guile Centre, which is a big shopping centre on the outskirts of Edinburgh. If I remember correctly, I think there's a tram stop on one side of it, which I'm just trying to find. I don't think it's opened yet because there's no cars here. Well, car parks are pretty dead. I thought the tram stop in the Guile was at the far end of the Guile, but it's not, it's right at the start. So I've got to run all the way back, see if I can find it. Annoying, it's full of hedges around here, so I was going to try and take a shortcut and get up here directly. I'm having to run around them all. Tram stop number 5. Is it? 5, yep. That was a bit harder to find, but it's actually really close to the Edinburgh Gateway one. That's a point to note for next time. And hopefully Morrison's is open and I can go and use the loo. That was fun. Never run in a shopping centre before. If I remember correctly, it's 22 or 23 tram stops, and I've done 5, and it's taken me 40 minutes. So I'm not very confident about getting to the end of this before I have to go and see my show in Edinburgh, unless I start getting a bit faster. But I think maybe the tram stops get a bit closer together and they get a bit easier to find. So you never know. See how it goes. I think the next one is Edinburgh Park, which is just along this road and to the left. And that's the first time I've had to cross the tram line and look both ways to make sure I don't get hit. Tram line number 6. Actually, a tram's just coming along. I can spot it in the distance. These look quite interesting. Seems to be parrots in a jar. Amazing what you can get away with if you call it art. I like this place, it's quite cool. Seems to be a small indoor tennis court, but it's got a roof on it, so you can actually use it all year round. Although it doesn't seem to have any instructions on how to actually have a game. But I like the idea. See more of that. Oh, we've got outdoor table tennis as well, that's nice. And wee football pitches. Just a pity that it's now 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, which you would think would be peak usage time, and there's not a single person here using it. Oh well. Not 100% sure how to get to the next tram stop, but I did see a van come along this main road, and I can see the other tram stop behind me. It's actually not very far, so I think if I just go up here and follow the road, I'll get around to it. There's the footpath's closed, but I think I can take my chances. I haven't seen a single car around here at all. And oh, there's the tram just over there. There's a sign there that said public path to road. I've just seen a bus go down on a road that seems to be heading towards the tram station. So I think I'll take my chances, go that way. Is this a path? Does it look like a path? I can see a little bit. I'll give it a try, see where it takes me. It's not a path, it's taking me straight back to the road again. I'm going to have to jump this fence. Oh. number 6, if I'm remembering correctly. That's Edinburgh Park Station, which is next to another shopping centre, Hermiston Gate. And I think it gets a bit easier to follow now because these tram lines just go straight for a while, I think. Tram line number 7, I think 7. Where am I? Bankhead. I have to admit, I've never heard of Bankhead in my life, although I do recognise it because it looks like a place I played football many years ago. I used to come here on a Wednesday night and play football in a 5-a-side game, which I think is behind that building over there, but I could never have told you what it was called. I was correct. That is where I used to play football. Probably now, about 15 years ago, I think, was the last time I was there. And my very last game, a man passed the ball to me, and I did what I would describe myself as one of the greatest Cruyff turns in history, which completely bamboozled the defender who was marking me at the time. Bamboozled him so much, he hacked me and snapped the ligaments in my ankle. Which was very, very sore. It's quite funny, if you snap the ligaments in your ankle, it sounds like a gunshot going off, because the ligaments all tear apart. And I ended up having to go to hospital. I can see the next tram stop, and I also see what looks like a shortcut. It's one of these engineering decisions where they build the path, but no one uses it, because the better line is just to go straight across. That was Saughton, which I think was train stop number 8. Train line seems to go straight on, so we'll take a guess and just keep on heading straight. I'm not 100% sure what the next tram stop is, so I'm just playing it safe, and I think if I just follow the cycle path, I'm pretty sure it'll go to it. Station number 9, Balgreen, not 100% sure about the pronunciation. Also not 100% sure where I am. Oh, there's Murrayfield. I now know where I am. I'm relying on the cycle path route to take me to the next one, which I believe is Murrayfield tram station. I don't know if there's a game on today. There was a game on last week. Do rugby players play every week? One of these sports I've never got into. Rugby is a sport I've never got into because we played it occasionally at school, and my coach said to me, hey, with the correct technique you can tackle anyone. So we were playing a match and there was a guy running towards me, and he was about 6'4" and pretty big guy. He was a big guy, and I thought, coach says correct technique, I'll bring him down. So I hit him as hard as possible with the correct technique and ended up concussed. So I learned a lesson that day. Don't mess with people who are bigger than you, and don't always listen to what coaches tell you. Tram stop number 9, I think. Terrible, I can't even count to 10 correctly. I think Murrayfield wins the prize so far for prettiest tram stop. Seems to be about the only one they've actually spent any money on to make it a bit better. Not like you need to spend much money on a tram stop. It's just got to be a point where the tram stops. Although I don't play rugby, I did used to go to the matches quite often, mainly because I had lots of friends who like it, and it was a day out, I had a chance to have a beer, and if I remember correctly, yeah, I spotted it. There's a place here called Murrayfield Bowling Club, and one year my friend had entry for here, so we were able to go get a beer before the match and then just walk 100 metres when you're in the stadium. The thing I remember most about it is when you went in, there was a board and it said men's club champions. And it was a beautiful mahogany board with all the men's names in gold print. And then when you went to the other side of the room, there was another beautiful mahogany board, gold print. It said boys champions. And then you went round the corner next to the toilets and there was a bit of paper that said female champions. I think they were a little bit sexist. Into the more classical part of Edinburgh now. Coming into towards Haymarket, big houses in the West End. One of the most expensive areas for property in the whole of Scotland. I'm pretty sure that used to be a school. It was a bit posher than the one I went to. I forgot to record anything when I got to Haymarket station, but you can see me walk up to it and you can see me run away from it. I first visited Edinburgh over 30 years ago. My parents took me to visit my great aunt and uncle who lived in Murrayfield. My great uncle took myself and my brother into the city. It was the first time we'd ever been on a double-decker bus, and it was the first time I'd ever seen a clock made of flowers. The flower clock is in West Princes Street Garden and it was commissioned in 1903. It was the first of its kind in the world. With tens of thousands of small colourful plants, the clock takes 2 gardeners 5 weeks to plant and is trimmed, weeded and watered by one gardener for the rest of the season. If you're in Edinburgh, you can see it as it flowers from July until October. Tram stop number 13. That's a guess. I think that's about the second last one I'm going to manage before I'm going to have to go and see my show. It's now 20 to 10. My show's at 10:30, and it'll take me 25 minutes to get there. This is where the tram originally stopped, so I thought where I would stop today. So I need to go and get to my show. I'll decide after the show whether I'm going to do the rest of it or not. But I think I can clear this a tram half marathon. That was 11.5 miles to the last tram stop. It took me just over 2 hours. You could probably do it a bit quicker if you knew where you were going. And I've got 20 minutes to get to the next bit. I was quite hungry, so I stopped at this point and grabbed a bite to eat. You could tell the fringe was on because the prices were super expensive. It was £6 for a scone and it was £10 for this pastry. It was tasty though. And finally, the big questions that need answered are: did I laugh at the name of the venue? Yes. Yes, I did. Did I make it to the show in time? Yes, just. And lastly, did I jog back to the start? No, I got the tram.